Hey everybody, good evening. Sorry for the late arrival. I was, as you could see, changing my location. The mosquitoes have just been I've been back there for a solid, I don't know, 15, 20 nights. I don't know how many, but they just seem to be getting worse and my candles haven't come, so my bracelet wasn't working that great. So I changed locations, new spot. So I hope you guys are doing well. Happy Mother's Day Eve. You are, Ari. You're getting a very slow home tour. We are now on my back deck. Yeah, it's so slow. 30 days and then another 30 days. Hey Nat, thanks buddy. I'm getting the uh I'm getting the itch probably like the rest of us that I want to go do this in the private studio and turn the heat on. But I'm trying to resist that urge because then there's the commute going back and forth and you're just out and about more. And doing our best to stay home and take care of everybody that way. Hi, Emily. I'm assuming you guys can hear me okay. I think I've got everything set up. I was a little rushed, but my lovely wife, she came out and helped me. I had a different setup about 5 minutes ago, and I showed it to her, and she was like, "Oh no, you can't do that." So she came out and helped me build this spot here. And we've got a playlist out there for tonight if you're streaming along. Detox Live, 5 10 20. When I saw that this morning, the two times multiplier. So 5 times 2 is 10, 10 times 2 is 20. I'm not sure exactly what you call that, but it must mean something in numerology. I haven't looked it up yet. If anybody knows, fill me in. Looks like we're set up on the earbuds. We've got 3 minutes to spare, so again, my apologies if you were showing up to do the 5 minute mindfulness meditation. Great, Ari, thank you. It was a little chilly tonight. It's crazy how sensitive we're becoming when, this was a mere matter of, shifting a space from when I went from inside and then back out into the garden and here onto the deck. We're so sensitive. You feel so much more of what's going on. So I think we may notice that as we start to reintroduce, different things into our lives that, we haven't been doing. So it's important to remain very patient with ourselves. When you feel that response from your nervous system, it's different than a reaction. When you're aware, you can actually acknowledge that there's a response that is happening, connecting with what's going on outside of you and to that feeling in touch with your central nervous system. That's different than a mindless reaction. A reaction, you really don't know that it's happening, and then eventually you come to know that it happened. It's in the past. Your response, you can actually feel it while it's happening. You're closer and more connected to the moment. And I figure what we'll do tonight is we'll start our practice with a sit. So if you would please make yourself comfortable cross-legged sitting on your block, or you can sit on your shins. You're welcome to have one leg out, anything in where you feel comfortable with your head above your heart and your spine in a neutral stack, so one straight line coming up. And we're going to start there in about a minute or so. And I know that I've said this before, but I appreciate you all so much for practicing with me, especially these detox experiences. This practice is really, it's not the one that, tags as most popular when you're operating a studio. People want that drive and that flow, but it's very intimate, and it holds a very deep, special meaning for me in my yoga life journey. So I'm just very appreciative of all of you that are here, and so many of you on a regular basis. It's really awesome, and you can see it. You could see that it's in fewer and far between, that the flows and the movement. I feel like that is the pendulum that we're attempting to support in a shift in all of us as human beings. So if you get it, even if you struggle through it, we all struggle through moments of this practice for sure. But whatever it is that has been calling you back, I would take a look at that and celebrate that part of you. It's nothing outside of you. It's something inside of you that has called you back and for you to show up onto your mat. So giving you guys a lot of love tonight. Let's make our way into a comfortable seat. I'm going to start the playlist. If you're following along on Spotify, you can go ahead and start yours as well. Make sure we get things up and running on the music. And the first track on the playlist is called Winter Sleep. Sleeps, plural. Hi, Ren. So get your volume set and get your body set. Now here's the fun part. We can't necessarily shape the mind right. All we can do is take a look into the shape of our mind. And tonight, as we sit and continue and to see where this stillness and this practice of detox takes us, and without any expectation, right, eventually you'll be craving. I know we're doing 60-minute practices. At the studio we have 75-minute. In the heat. It feels so good. And so you may find that you're craving a little bit more endurance as you're building up the tolerance and to hold these positions. So let's go ahead and close the eyes down. You can take a few deeper breaths if that feels good. And let the air release and soften your shoulders. It might feel nice and to move your head side to side a couple times. And then we can go ahead and bring the head back up onto the stack. I don't know where it's come from. I've never used this concept of the stack, but it seems to make sense virtually to describe not only the position of your body, but the props or the things that you may be using and to support your body in some of these positions, since I don't really know what you're using. And we've come up with this terminology of the stack. And let's simply observe the air as it's coming into the body. Mindfulness meditation. And support yourself grounding here tonight. And observe the air as it goes out of your body. We'll take a few minutes here. And go ahead and let you drop in, and I'll call you back. have been practicing quite a bit, and so let's acknowledge the properties and the characteristics and that ground you in these experiences. And things that you may have grown or built in with confidence over the last 30, 40, 50, however many days. And start to see these things now. And these properties that exist from within. And things you may know about yourself and that you didn't know about yourself before. And perhaps as we're learning in this experience of detox, the less that we force it, and the more that we allow this life to unfold and to happen, and we simply take a step into the present moment, the more that we can see the fullness of our personality, the depth of our morals and our character. And we're going to sway, we're going to meander, but that's okay. It's all part of the practice. And please sit up nice and tall. And feel your lungs, feel the breath come up into your chest. And then nice and easy, go ahead and open your eyes, bring them back into the space. You might blink a couple times. And let's take this with us into a child's pose, please. And come off of your seat slowly. And little to less activation of the muscles in your body. And spread your knees or bring them close together, whichever feels best in your body, and set any part of your stack underneath your hips or your knees if that would feel good. Oh, hey, Brooke, if you just go onto Spotify at this point, search for Joe space Komar, Komar. You'll see the Detox 510 playlist there, and you can start it. We are on the track called Rise currently. And so start on Rise. And then make your way down, everybody, into your child's pose. Come to your elbows. And eventually release to your forehead. And make any little adjustments. Soften your belly in your child's pose so it literally falls in between your thighs. Or onto your thighs if your knees are closer. And turn your elbows out a little bit. That'll help and soften any grip in your shoulders and your neck. And remember balance. And perhaps we're bringing some of that through ourselves, and so that we can share this with others. And we can love to flow, we can love to go, but then also have this beautiful passion for stillness. Heaviness as you drop into your natural breath, unforced. No need to change it or manipulate it in any way. And remember, if it's too intense to sit in some of the flexion of the positions, neutrality is always going to be your best friend. And so you would just back off a little bit and stay on your elbows, for example. Keep your spine in one line,
You can put something underneath your forehead, so neutrality, taking flexion or extension out of the equation. And then in either case, and let your body be still, your thoughts can meander and travel about, and we can observe the breath as it comes into your body and it goes out of your body. And if you're holding back at all, release your belly. And hips to your heels will stay and observe about 10 more breaths here. And through this transition, let's stay nice and low. We're going to start to bring the hips forward and slide the arms out in front of you. And the hips can unfold, the legs can extend out straight behind, and then you can spread the front of your hips into the mat. And separate your knees, separate your feet, and all the while stay here on your elbows. And so your elbows are about as wide as your shoulders, but just a little bit in front of your shoulders. And you should be able to feel some compression down through your lower back. And let the kinks release from your neck, chin towards your chest. And let the belly soften here. And we talk about the damming effect, the constriction of the blood flow in the body. Notice if you feel that. And now that the flow is coming back into your feet, you might have some tingles in your toes. And tingles may be stronger on one side or one foot versus the other. And so you become more in touch, and I was talking about the sensitivity meter should be rising. And the more time and the more energy that we spend on our mat and with our breath, and all of that to say so that you can acknowledge the responses that are taking place in through your nervous system. And that'll help you stay nice and clear in the mode of action versus reaction. As your head is heavy, start to lift your chin. You open your eyes, and we're going to crisscross the arms at the elbows. So take your right hand and bring it behind your left elbow, and then start to slide your left hand over to the right side of your mat. And so we're going to slide the hands away from each other until your elbows are lined up with the midline of your body. You can make a gentle fist with both hands, and then curl your toes under once. Use that, and then like a worm, and slide your hips forward a couple inches. Once you're there, gentle fists, and then start to let your chest come down. There's not going to be any particular way that you should settle your head. It might feel good to turn your chin into a little nook in your arms. We did this one way, way back. You might as well have been a year ago as we continue to dissolve our perspective of time. We're going through in withdrawals in ways as we've existed with time our entire lives. That is changing. Metamorphosis and the butterfly effect. So find the place in where your head can rest. The weight of your torso over your arms, and you'll feel your shoulder blades spread. And then relax your bum and your toes. Let your low back breathe here. And once you got it set, you can soften the fists. Let your fingertips curl out of your palms. And don't worry if you're feeling it a lot or if you're feeling it a little bit. We're going to stay here for a while. And right about now, it should start to feel pretty good. And I suppose by good in this practice, I mean settled. And shift in your mindset. Your body's starting to get the picture. An understanding of the bigger picture versus the micro elements of our lives, and where we worry and consider ourselves first in the bigger picture, and where we can connect into every beautiful being. And use your fellow practitioners in this practice tonight. You've seen each other's names, even if you don't know each other's faces. And we can start here, and this can exponentially grow. But we got to start local. And feel the entire weight of your torso. In about 30 more seconds here. And you can stay in this place in your mind, and where you're less inclined to hold on. Here to grip as you start to lift your head up. And slide your arms back out. And let's take the hands underneath your shoulders, and so you're like setting up a little baby cobra. Your arms are like little grasshopper legs, elbows by your sides, and then let your forehead come down to kiss the mat. Palms flat, elbows pointing up. And let's take one bigger breath, and then on your exhale, use a little bit of your belly strength. And press into your hands and begin to lift your chest up. And then rise all the way onto all fours. And let's walk the hips back onto your heels, and then we're going to extend the right leg out in front of us. And with your right leg straight, take any part of your stack and put it underneath your right sitting bone tonight. And so the stack is higher than the hamstring. You want the hamstring and to receive the opening. And the sitting bone is higher. It's actually in your butt. You'll feel that. You can connect to your stack if you have something firm like the block, and this creates a level pelvis. Let's go ahead and crawl your hands forward. And what you were just opening when you were lying on your belly across your back, as you soften your belly, is going to allow you, you've been in this position likely before, but every time you might feel it a little bit differently. And utilize that space and repetition, and when something is familiar, and to really take your mind out of the attachment of what you know, and then you're going deeper and deeper into that space that you've never seen before. And so as you draw it down, soften everything. And through your back and through your belly, and let your forehead, some of you are just going to be, pretty much flat to the mat. Your belly will be in your thigh, your forehead will touch the ground. And then others, like me, will stay curious to see if that ever happens. And with our body, who knows? And perhaps a concept you've never explored before. How far do you go when there's really no movement, like you don't leave your mat and for an hour, and see how far you really go? What's your relationship with distance? Many times it's an association to something outside of yourself versus inside of yourself, and so you may pick up a considerable amount of space and perspective in that way. And let's take 3 deep breaths here and fall a little bit further every time you exhale. Begin to walk your hands back in from the base of your spine. Eyes can be closed. Roll up 1 vertebra at a time, please. You feel the lightness in the stack as you take the flexion out of your spine. Your eyes can come out in front softly, but open. Your right leg should feel like the trunk of a tree, nice and heavy. So take your hands on the back of your right leg above your knee, and nice and easy, start to slide your heel in towards you. And bring your right foot flat onto the mat, and just in any way on your stack if you need to. And then go ahead and interlace the fingers around the front of your right chin. Sit up as tall as you can through the crown of your head. You wrap your elbows around your sides. Make sure your shoulders are dropping, back of your heart is lifting. You can put a light firmness into your belly, and then roll your chin down to your chest, so you're closing your throat. And for about a minute here, we're going to breathe and feel the breath trace through the back of the throat and that compression. And we're massaging our thyroid gland. And the gland that is operating your metabolism. Close the throat. And hands on your shin. Inhale, bring your gaze forward. And exhale, release your hands, and you can take a soft sigh. And you feel that release, and you can take your stack out from underneath your right sit bone and set it to the side. Make your way back onto all fours. And then let's stretch our body out and straighten your legs. Come down onto your belly. And then we'll just feel this all release in from that side in that sequence. And so stack your left hand on top of the back of your right hand. And turn your right cheek down onto your hands. And let everything soften here. All right, let's turn the chin back. Slide the elbows underneath your shoulders. And feel your hips spread in the front. That compression comes back into your lower spine. And then you can release the neck into the top of the shoulders. Let your chin come down into your chest. Feel here first. If somebody was always with us, reminding us, feel here first. If you're constantly and you have a pretty consistent nature of projecting yourself into the future, and then maybe you start hearing that voice inside, feel here first. Take one step at a time. Be in the step that you're taking. And good setup, everybody. Let's roll the gaze forward. Okay, this time take your left hand behind your right elbow. And then take your right hand over to the left side of your mat. You make a gentle fist. And then you're going to walk those fists away from each other until your elbows line up with each other down the center line of your body. And curl your 10 toes under once. And then like a worm, scoot your hips forward an inch or two. You might slide the arms out away from each other and then untuck your toes. And let's let the torso come down over the arms. You might feel this in your back underneath your shoulder blades, but also the neck and your traps and the scalene muscles in the front of your neck. And let your head form into any position as you release into this posture. Simply don't worry about holding it up. You let it find its groove, and we'll be here for a while. And release the fists, release the jaw, and be still. And you may have felt it kick in. The peace and the content nature of your mind. Start to bring your attention back to your body if you drifted. And then you can begin to lift your head up and slide your elbows out. As you slide your elbows out, and go back to your grasshopper arms, and so left hand under your left shoulder, your right hand under your right shoulder. You're going to feel this gently opening your chest, and then let your forehead come down, the center of your forehead, onto your mat. Give it a little kiss. A little draw to your belly, and begin to lift your head, press into your hands. And draw your hips back. No rush. And take it slow. Walk your hips all the way back onto your heels. Bring your stack with you. And feel the line to your spine. And perhaps a deep and forgiving breath as you notice all this space in your shoulders and around your neck. Let's go ahead and bring your left leg out in front of you. And then put your stack, if it's your yoga block and whatnot, underneath your sitting bone in your bum, higher than your hamstring. Man, all this freedom, it takes a lot of patience. And as you continue your practice, it will happen overnight, but it will happen with a lot of consistency of many nights connected together. Let's take the hands forward. And don't be surprised if this left side hamstring feels a little bit tighter than the right side, like just a ball of energy, like there's a tennis ball. You can even feel it if you take your left hand. You're like, it's really interesting when you start to layer your understanding into the layers of your body and the way that your body is built. And soften your belly as we can allow the shoulders to spread and chin to release. And again, go where it goes. I know many of you are going to be flat on your belly, and then the rest of us are going to wonder if our forehead will ever even get within an inch of our knee. It all depends, especially in this practice. It all depends, and it doesn't matter what it looks like. And that can be a pretty cool approach. Say you have a profound establishment of confidence and passion and purpose, and that you're very clear about. And as you took your steps into your day, you just thought, hey, it depends. I'm not fixed on it either way. If it goes this way or that way, I'll feel it. I'll notice the response in my nervous system. And eventually you'll be living a life out of reaction. And pretty clear on each action that you take. And see if you can drop in a little bit deeper with 3 big breaths. And on the exhale, let it go. You are welcome to keep your eyes closed. Use your hands. And begin to crawl your hands in. And feel the body as it comes back into the neutral stack of the spine. You're taking the flexion out. And head above your heart, hands in your lap. And remember, this left leg is going to be pretty darn heavy at this point, so and take your hands underneath your left hamstring. And then just start to slowly lift the knee and slide your left foot flat onto your mat. And so obviously you're playing with the proportions and the length of your leg if you need to adjust your stack. And still under your left side, and then put your hands, interlace the fingers onto your left shin. And turn your elbows in. You might even get a couple little cracks and pops and adjustments here as we sit up nice and tall through your spine. And keep your chest up, shoulders down. And we're going to roll the chin into the chest. So you're closing the throat. And then drawing the air in through your nose, through the back of your throat, compressed. And massaging the thyroid gland. Start to bring your gaze forward, ears on top of your shoulders. And can be some joy in these releases, everybody. Go ahead and relax your grip. And then use your hands, start to lift your bum. And come forward onto all fours, hands and knees. You can just slide your stack out. And then go ahead and lie down onto your belly. As your legs go straight, elbows wide, stack your right palm on the back of your left hand. And turn your left cheek onto your right hand. And feel this release your low back. In front of your hips all the way up into your spine, shoulders and chest. Let's begin to turn your chin back to center. You separate your feet and your knees even a little bit wider, and then take your hands back underneath your shoulders with those grasshopper arms. But now turn your middle fingers, and so they're pointing out towards the side edges of your mat. And keep your hips heavy, and then start to straighten your arms. The hips may naturally lift just a little bit. You just don't want to voluntarily lift them. And turning your elbows in, and rolling your shoulders down, and eventually getting your arms straight. And so they're like two kickstands. And now you can feel it as you turn your elbows in. The back side of your arms is going to kind of twist and lock you in underneath your armpits. And it's right where you want to be. You let your chin stay down close to your chest. And your hips heavy. It's okay for your shoulders now and to begin to shrug towards your ears. Your arms remain straight. You've developed all of the openness in your body, but if this is too much, you remember that previous pose when you're on your elbows underneath your shoulders, you can always go back there. This one can bring up a bunch of stuff, especially the stuff that is held up in your wrists and your inner voice, perhaps the things that you're holding back on actually expressing, things you feel, things you know, and for some reason you're not able to speak them. And slowly start to draw your belly in. And roll the weight into your knees as you sit your bum back up. And coming through a neutral spine and tabletop, firm your belly, support your low back. And take a deeper breath. Might feel good to let out a sigh through your exhale. And then you can turn your middle fingers back in so they're pointing forward. And close your eyes here and just be in this tabletop. Nowhere else to go. Your arms should feel different. And your shoulders and your back. And your hips and your spine. All of it should feel different. And start to crawl your knees forward. And then you can take your stack, your block, put it in between your feet, please. You're facing the top of your mat. I'm just going to turn so that I can face you. And we're going to sit on our shins. And so this is always the alternative position. We're sitting in our meditation. You can sit on your shins with this stack or a prop in between your feet. If you can sit right onto your heels, you're welcome to do that as well. And give your shoulders a roll back. And let your hands rest into your lap with your palms facing up, please. And keep your eyes open for the first minute. And see everything as it is around you, and without having to have your eyes closed. And feel everything that is inside of you. And it's been a heck of a ride thus far. And we sit here on a Sunday evening. And who knows if we'll remember this Sunday evening versus any other Sunday evening and throughout our lives. But we sit here and together in practice on this Sunday evening right now. And let's remind ourselves this is not the end of the movie. The credits are not rolling. We're somewhere in the midst of this adventure called life. And it's really important to remind ourselves that. And keep everything as it is. Just go ahead and close your eyes, please. You notice how sensitive and how beautiful you are as a human being. Nobody needs to validate for you how you're getting deeper in touch or what you're getting in touch with. These are not things or moments that you need to explain or describe. We know because we're here. And others will come to know when they're here. And I'm not talking about practicing with us and just saying when they make their way to being here, to being in the moment, they will come to know. And so there's your liberty, there's your freedom, and there's your honesty, and there's your truth. And you're more than welcome to stay here for another minute or so if you're really cozy and content, and stay here in your meditation. If you would rather lie down onto your back and for a Shavasana meditation, you just go ahead nice and slow, take your legs out long, roll down onto your back, rolling yourself out. Rolling yourself out. Rolling yourself out.
Whatever reminders you receive today through your practice or your practices, if you did both, or maybe you did others, whatever reminders you received, allow those and to come along with you. For those reminders and to last a little bit longer as you can kind of soak up and expand and through your awareness. And then you'll find further and further and further stretches of time where you need the reminders less, because the practice is building its way. It like becomes a filter in the existence, and where you're not pushing anything away. You can take it all. And you can take it all and you can continue on your path. Please continue your meditation. Stay here for as long as you would like to. When you are ready to go, please do so nice and quietly. Entertain the space. Let it entertain you. Have a beautiful sleep. And let's come back and do it again and continue this practice tomorrow morning. Be well, everybody. Support yourself, support each other. Right? Even if you send love virtually, energetically, those people or that person will receive it. So send it. And thank you so much. Have a beautiful night, everybody. Namaste.